Hi, I'm Christy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm here to influence or de-influence your fall TBR. Alright, so for the beginning of fall, I had done like my fall TBR video of all the books that I plan to read for the fall season, whether those were backlist books, just books on my TBR, or new releases that were coming out as well. And so I thought this would be a fun little check-in because I have read, I think, 18 of the books so far onto that TBR, so I'm about like halfway through it. So I wanted to come back, check in, and tell you very quickly, like yes, no, maybe, but fall edition of the books that I've read so far for my fall TBR. So I'm just titling this video like influencing or de-influencing your fall TBR based off of the books that I had on my TBR for the fall season as well. So I'm so excited to jump into these. Like I said, I have 18 to talk about and I'm going to quickly go through them. So of course, if you want to see more of my thoughts or full reviews on any of these books, I do review every book that I read, and you can always get to that in my Goodreads, which is always linked in the description of the video. That's where I review every book I read. I also have all of the books listed below in the description of the video as well. So if you want to go grab any, check them out for yourself. They're all listed below with the title of the books and the author's names. So if you miss any, want to go back and check it out, they're all in the description of the video as well. So with all that info out of the way, let's jump into it. All right, so I have my notes here and we're just going to quickly go through them. So first up is Wildcard by Elsie Silver. This was a new release that came out in September. This book is the fourth and final book in her Rose Hill series. This one would be a maybe for me. I feel like if you're already like down bad, you love everything that Elsie Silver writes, then you'd probably enjoy this one. But for me and maybe other people who this isn't their favorite series from her, they've read all of her books and maybe some are hits, some are misses. This one was a miss for me personally. So that's why I'm going to say maybe. For me, it would be like a no, but I know so many people love her books and just love the series overall. So I feel like if you usually think her books are solid and you really enjoy them, then probably check this one out. But if you have more like hits and misses with her, probably skip this one. I personally have just read Better, Ex's Dad, if you want that trope. So anyways, skip for me, but a maybe for others. Next up is Nightshade by Autumn Woods. This one I had really high hopes for. People had said it was like dark academia, romantic suspense, set in Scotland, all the things, kind of like rival family situations. This one's a no for me and didn't work for me on any level. I just did not have a good time with it, didn't enjoy the plot, didn't enjoy the characters. Maybe you would like it. Like I feel like if you enjoyed Gothicana, maybe you'd like it. Kind of similar vibes, both of those didn't work for me, so skip for me, this one would be a no. Next is A Pack for Autumn by Amelia Emerson. This one I had high hopes for. I have enjoyed Amelia Rossi, which is this author's pen name for her mafia romances. Those ones I've loved, really enjoyed them so much. So I have been wanting to check this one out for a while. This one's going to be a maybe from me because I personally don't read a ton of Omegaverse, and that is what this book is. So I would say if you read Omegaverse regularly, then you'd probably enjoy this one. For me, I just don't know if Omegaverse is for me overall. So this one was a bit of a miss, but basically it is like Omegaverse, but cozy fall. She works in a small town. She's the new lighthouse keeper and she gets to town and there are these alphas there who of course want her and all the things. So it's like MMMF and it is Omegaverse cozy like fall town vibes. Just not a favorite for me, but again, like Omegaverse doesn't really work for me. So maybe for me. Next up, switching to a yes from me. So this is By the Horns by Ruby Dixon. This book I absolutely loved. This is the second book in her Royal Artifactual Guild series. I love this. It has really pretty sprayed edges. This book, this series, like, oh, just so fun. I love the art in here. So this one's a yes for me. I enjoy it, but again, I think you're gonna have to enjoy like monster romances and minotaur romance. That is what this is. I'm somebody who has loved Ruby Dixon for years, and so her books just always hit for me, and this one I really enjoyed. This one was fun because it has a bit of that like hidden identity trope, where in here, the heroine, she is basically having necromancy powers, which is something that this world has gotten rid of centuries ago, and so nobody should be able to have these powers. So she's keeping that a secret, as well as her and the hero actually hook up at the beginning of the story, where he is in a kind of healer's room. He has his eyes bandaged, so he doesn't see who the woman is who helps him and comes in and takes care of his kind of heat situation for him. And so they have a great night, and after that he wants to find this mystery woman because she gave him a like mystery name, and he is determined to find her. He's obsessed with her, and so he's trying to look for her while at the same time trying to help the Artifactual Guild, trying to find these artifacts that have magic powers that are kind of disappearing and getting stolen. And so he kind of starts to assume that the heroine is the one that he's looking for the person who is keeping secrets. And of course the secrets she is keeping are different. And so it kind of goes from there. He's obsessed with her. So good. This is a new release that just came out in September. I loved it. Again, if you like monster romances, this series has been just a hit for me overall. Next up is The Honeycrisp Orchard Inn by Valerie Bowman. So this one is the first book I've ever read from this author. I know she does historical romances as well. This one came out in the beginning of September. I enjoyed this one, but I would say it's a maybe maybe overall, because I feel like you have to be in the mood for this book, maybe for this writing, to enjoy it. So this one is like every fall trope you could imagine is stuffed into this book. So any fall mentions, any fall desserts, all the fall vibes are in this book. It worked for me, but I think like I've enjoyed other ones more, but at the time I loved this book, so maybe. So in this book, the heroine's family owns an inn that is starting to struggle with business, and the hero's family owns an apple orchard, and those two businesses kind of work together. They're on the same property. And so the heroine has left behind her small town. She lives in the city, but some things blow up with her career, with her boyfriend, with her living situation. So she comes back to the inn because she needs a place to stay. And while she's there, she decides to help her family with their business because she's like into marketing. And it goes from there, where her and the hero kind of have a past. He assumed she would have always stayed around and they would have run their businesses together. So there's a little bit of like animosity on his front at first from her. And it goes from there. Just like all the fall vibes are in this book. I enjoyed it. But again, I'd say it's maybe overall because I know a lot of friends who don't love it as much. So just maybe if you want that type of vibe. Next up is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. So this one is a no from me. I had actually had this book on my TBR last year when it came out, heard some mixed things. So I kind of put it off my TBR, but then I added it back to my TBR this year after hearing some great things. I like found a local indie store that had it, and so decided to buy it and check it out. And this one was just a miss for me overall. I feel like it was supposed to be like touted as this like When Harry Met Sally vibes, the New York, the fall setting. And I don't know, I didn't like either of the characters. I felt like they were so unlikable, so I didn't enjoy their journey. They're very just like cold with each other, and their interactions go on for years and years and years, where they're basically always kind of running into one another and eventually becoming kind of a friends with benefits situation to eventually lovers. And I just was not a fan. Afterwards, I found out that it was a Raylo fanfic that got traditionally published, which those like rarely work for me. So overall a miss for me. I did not enjoy this one, sadly. Next is People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. So this one's gonna be a maybe from me. I have read all of this author's books. This one I loved the cover because it was giving like all the fall vibes. This one though is probably one of my least favorite from her. So for me, even somebody who enjoys her books regularly, it would be a maybe. I know this book is getting a lot of mixed reviews as well, so I could definitely see both sides of it. This is basically a very slow burn, kind of strangers to friends to lovers setup, where the heroine in here, she lives in a small town, she works at her family's business, and she is helping her father take care of her mother who has early onset Alzheimer's. So that is very prevalent in the story, and it definitely worsens. Her mother's case worsens as the story goes on. So just know that, heavy hitting, some emotional elements. This one though, the like romance and the hero and all of that just didn't really work for me as much as I was hoping. Like I enjoyed parts of the story, but not all of it. So that is why it's a maybe from me. Next one is Bad for Business by Kat Singleton. So this one is actually going to be a maybe as well. I loved this book. I had a lot of fun with it, but I think you definitely have to be in the mood for that kind of like Hamptons country club setting where the heroes are down bad, they're billionaires, and so just like spoiling and being obsessed with the heroines. So if you're in that mood, then pick it up. This is a newer release that came out in the fall, so that is why it was on my fall TBR, not that anything about the book like screams fall. So overall, I had fun with it. It was fun, but I think you have to be in the mood for a billionaire romance, and here the heroine is like a publicist and he's her client who she's trying to keep out of like getting into bad press and all of that. They have had a one-night stand in the past where they're trying to keep that out of their business relationship now, and it goes from there. So like I said, I had fun with it, but I think you have to be in the mood for billionaire romances to pick it up. Next up is If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. This one I absolutely loved. I feel like this one is worth all the hype. If there's any that you pick up from my yes list, this one definitely has to be it. This book delivered on all of those 90s fall vibes. It takes place in 1997 in Vermont in fall time. It has like Gilmore Girl vibes. It was just everything that I wanted it to be. I've read this author in the past, but this book was definitely my favorite from her. So this is a small town where the heroine is a grumpy like innkeeper, where basically her mother has passed away, left behind her beloved inn, and so the heroine is there to take over the business, and she meets the hero who is also her neighbor. He's a single dad baker in town, and so her sister basically tells her like, hey, you should start to become friends with people in the town, get to know the community, all the things. And so the hero's right there, and so they decided to become friends, and it goes from there of her like being grumpy but not grumpy for him and his life, and it goes from there. It was so much fun, so cute, perfect like nostalgic 90s vibes in a small town, a fall, Gilmore Girl vibes, like all the things. I really enjoyed this one, so definitely check this one out this fall. Next up is Soul Searching by Lila Sage. So this one's actually going to be a no from me. I'm somebody who has read all of this author's books, and I feel like I enjoyed some of the small town ones more than this, but overall I feel like her books just I don't love them. Like I don't think I've given any of them 5 stars. I've probably given a few 4 stars, but this one was disappointing fascinating to me. I wanted to go into it because I love the cover vibes and I was super here for a ghost paranormal type of setting. And this book was just like a major miss for me. I did not have fun with it. I had an arc of it. It's already out now. It came out the end of September and it was just a miss for me overall. And here the heroine is basically somebody who has been able to see like ghosts and spirits and things her whole life. And it has kind of gone away in the past year and she wants to figure out why. So she goes back to her small town to where she has usually been able to see the ghosts in the past of when she was growing up. And so she gets there and she ends up staying with the hero or living in an apartment that he has for rent. And it kind of goes from there to their romance. This one I just felt like it was a miss. I feel like this author in general, her heroes are always usually like perfect already. And I want like a little bit more character growth with them. And so in this one, even the heroine at one point talks and calls the hero like boring, I forget his name, but she calls him boring, whatever his name is, like to his face. And so I'm like, that's not very promising of a character. So just couldn't really get behind the romance of it all. It just wasn't very interesting to me. And I feel like some authors, some books you can really tell are written, like the heroes are written from like more of the female gaze situation and they don't feel like realistic men, how they'd act like in real life. So I don't know. This one just didn't work for me overall. All right, next up is Bitter Burn by Sierra Simone. So this is the third and final book in her current trilogy that she just finished. This book, I had loved this series at the start when it came out like 2 years ago. And either her writing has changed or I, like as a reader, has changed of what I enjoy in books, what I want. My mood has just changed of books I enjoy. So this series has kind of just like went downhill for me. And like it was still solid. Her writing's good. I just don't think I'm the type of reader who wants to pick up this type of a book anymore, and that's totally okay. So this one's gonna be a maybe, because for me personally, it might just be my mood or what I'm in the mood to read lately, and so it might work for others. But this is basically an MMF Tristan and Isolde retelling, and so in this one we finally get Mark's POV, who is the hero who's married to the heroine in the story, and it is his kind of reflection slash moments with the other two characters in their kind of like throuple situation. And it goes from there. And so overall, I feel like Sierra Simone's writing is good. This was one of my like favorite series from her, but I think I just am not in the mood for this type of style of story anymore. So for me, it was a maybe, but it just came out the end of September. Next up is Crazy in Love by Laura Pavlov. I absolutely love this one. So this one's going to be a yes from me. This one is Small Town. It's the fourth book in her Rosewood River series. It just came out the last day of September as well. So many of these books came out on that day. This one I really enjoyed. This is my favorite in the series so far. I feel like the series overall has been kind of hit and miss from me. I've enjoyed more of her series in the past more, but this book I love. We've seen this couple kind of building up throughout the series, so it was so fun to get to their story. This is an enemies to lovers situation, a billionaire hero. Basically in here, the hero has been determined slash confident that the heroine is out to get his family in particular with this like scandal anonymous gossip sheet in town. And so he's convinced she's behind it and writing about his family. They have known each other their whole lives and he's just always been convinced she is not a fan of him and has it out for him and his family. And so of course he's wrong. And it's so fun in here finally seeing that kind of come to a head and then him realizing how wrong he was, even though his whole family has been telling him this. And so it's their romance and it goes from there and they start to work together and it's just so good. I love this one so much. Had all of the like emotional elements I enjoy more in Laura's books mixed with like the found family small town setting, and it just worked so well. So Crazy in Love, highly recommend. I love this one. All right, another guess for me is Rising Rain by Tessa Hale. This is the third and final book in her Wolves of Crescent Creek series. Have this gorgeous hardcover with the sprayed edges and all the foiling, and it's just so stinking pretty. This is a wolf shifter, why choose, paranormal, fated mates, all of that. This is the third and final book in the series, and you definitely need to read the series in order because the first two books end on cliffhangers. All three books are following the same characters throughout, so it's like a continuous story. And this ending to the series was so good, so action-packed. I had so much fun with it. Highly recommend this whole series, especially if you love wolf shifters and fated mates and all of those like protective vibes, the touch her and die vibes. This series has all of those. I'm somebody who why choose has to work for me like super particularly. Like it has to be where all of the heroes or the other characters, they all feel very unique and different and not like a copy-paste situation of all the heroes seeming like the same guy. And in Tessa Hale's books, they always feel super different, super unique. I can tell all of the heroes apart from each other. They don't all just like blend in my mind. I love them all so much. Love this series. Highly recommend it. This is Rising Rain, which is the third and final book in the Wolves of Crescent Creek series. So the trilogy is finished now, but definitely go start with Crescent Kingdom if you're jumping into the series. Next up is Good Spirits by BK Borson. This one actually comes out out at the end of October, but I had an early copy of it and I love this one to pieces. So this one's an absolute yes from me. This one's definitely going to lean more into like that Christmas setting from the cover, of course, you can tell, as well as in here. The hero is literally the ghost of Christmas past, and he has come to haunt the heroine for the holiday season, as the ghost of Christmas past does. And in here, they both try to figure out like why he's maybe there to haunt her, because from what he can see, from what she knows of her life, like nothing she has done has stuck out for her to be like a person who would need somebody to kind of look back on their life. So they're trying to kind of figure that out together. It has all of those magical, cozy, just like feel good vibes that I feel like I'm just in the mood for. And this one was definitely a favorite of the season for me. Highly recommend going to pre-order it, put your early holds in, all the things. Go grab this one because it's out on October 21st. All right, hopping back to another paranormal. So this is The Fang Arrangement by Sarah Blue. This is the second book in her, I don't even remember the name of the title of the series, but the first book was The Marriage Hex last year that I really enjoyed. And so this is book 2. And in here, they like just exist in the same world, but they're definitely standalones. So this one is a vampire hero and a witch heroine. And in here, the vampire is down bad, totally obsessed with the heroine. Very much protective, touch her and die vibes. I love this one. This one's an absolute yes, one of my favorites of the month. I love this book to pieces. In this book, basically, the hero and the heroine, they meet at the beginning of the story, like kind of in the prologue or the first chapter, where you see them have this interaction. And for some things that happen in the plot and the story, he ends up tasting her blood and realizing that they are mates, like fated mates. And so he is kind of like in a tough situation. There's a lot of like upheaval going on within the vampire coven, some like hierarchy, people in charge changing. So it's kind of like dangerous, tumultuous. So he knows if she is involved in that right now and around him, he would be distracted, as well as she could possibly get hurt. So he's like, let me just push this to the side, deal with all of this. And he kind of sends her on her way, and he compels her to forget about their meeting this whole time, knowing that they're mates. And so we catch up to them. It's been like 8-10 years later, and she is kind of like in the crosshairs of the coven because she ends up at a crime scene when a vampire is murdered, and she's covered in the blood. And so it kind of goes from there, where he's like, I need to protect her and kind of tell her all the things about like who we actually are to one another. And it goes from there with her not realizing who he is at first. There's some really fun familiars in here. She has a familiar raccoon. He has a familiar bat. It's just so fun. I love this whole series to pieces, but this one's definitely my favorite. Next up is A Land So Wide by Erin A. Craig. Sadly, this one's a no from me. I have loved this author's books in the past, and this one's definitely not a favorite from her for me. So I would say overall it was like okay, but I feel like if you're jumping into her books or maybe wanting some of the similar vibes that some of her previous books have had, this one was just a total letdown. I will say this one though totally gave me The Village vibes if you've watched that movie before. So it's basically kind of the same type of situation, the same vibe, I should say, because it is different as well. But basically in here, there's like this trapped settlement where the heroine lives with her community. And they're basically told where the outside of the perimeter of their community is dangerous. There's like monsters out there. They shouldn't go out there. They're not allowed to go out there. And so her like childhood friend to lover situation ends up going out there. And then she realizes like, wait, we can actually trespass and go past the boundary lines. Like, let me go find out what's going on. And it kind of goes from there. It's very like slow moving and the Canadian wilderness, and it has to do with family secrets being unveiled. And it goes from there, and I just thought it was super boring and a little slow for what I wanted and what I usually enjoy from this author's books. So I would recommend her other like atmospheric ones more than this. So this one was a skip for me this season. Then Take It or Leave It by Lainey Hatcher. This one's going to be a maybe from me. I went in expecting so many good things. I expected to love this one, and it just didn't really work for me. So this is a small town, and it is set on an apple orchard in North Carolina where the hero's family owns the farm and the land around there, and the heroine is basically in their town because she was living in, I think like Minnesota, Michigan, something like that. She lived elsewhere, and basically she's kind of been like living on her own, dealing with like familial grief and other things going on. She works from home. She's like a graphic designer for romance authors. She has all of her friends like are online. So she's like, nothing is holding me to this town. So she decides like on a whim to look up like cozy, cute towns to visit for fall. And so the town that the hero lives in, where the apple farm is one of those towns. So she decides to go there. It's kind of just working from there, and his family kind of takes her in and gives her a place to stay, and it's their romance. The meet cute was super fun, where she's up in an apple tree and he has to like help her down and get her out of the tree because she's stuck. And so the meeting was fun, but then from there I feel like this book was just so slow moving, not only with like the romance setup but like the plot as well. I felt like nothing was happening. It was taking forever. So much time was passing, and yet it would be like a day. It just felt like I needed something more exciting. And so overall I wanted just so much more from this. It was a lot of like internal single monologue instead of like actual dialogue or things happening, where I was like, can we just pick up the pace? Could some people talk? Could some things happen? I feel like you know every single thing that's happening in the characters' minds instead of like, let's just go talk to people and get things moving. So overall, slow for me. So it's going to be a maybe. It didn't work for me, but I think it could work for others if you want maybe more Hallmarky, low angst, very, very slow burn vibes. If you go in knowing that, maybe you'd enjoy it. For me, it was a miss though. So maybe. All right, and then we're going to end on a high note. So this is The Gingerbread Bakery by Lori Gilmore. This one is an absolute yes from me, one of my favorites of the season. And this one, again, if you can't tell by the title and the cover with all the cutesy, like Christmassy vibes, this one's gonna be perfect for going into Christmas, into the winter season. I love this book. It just came out recently and it was so good. Definitely my favorite in the Dream Harbor series. This is a kind of cozy small town series where all the different like businesses in town have kind of books and romances. And here the characters, we've been seeing their relationship kind of build up throughout the series, where they have this like hate to love animosity towards one another, but you see in here how that line is very thin of the hate to love between these characters. And I love this one so much. It's second chance. It's so cute and cozy. I loved it. I loved getting the interactions, or the POV I should say, of the hero and seeing all of his thoughts on their relationship over the years. They have known each other for years. They had a moment in the past when they were young, and now things have happened and now it's years later and they're kind of having to partake in a friend's wedding. And so it goes from there, and it's just so good of them confronting all the things in the past, maybe some misunderstandings, and going from there. I loved it. Second chance, so good, perfect for the holiday season. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed. Like I mentioned, those were all 18 books that I've read so far off of my fall TBR, so about halfway through my fall TBR, so I wanted to do a check-in of the ones I would say to maybe skip, the ones to definitely check out, all the things. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Maybe I helped like influence or de-influence your TBR as well, because I feel like there's so many books and you never know like which ones to get to and make a priority. So hopefully this helped. Definitely let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this style of video, this like fall edition of my yes, no, maybe videos that I do. I have a playlist below if you want even more of this kind of like were they worth the hype type of video style. So definitely go check those out as well. And let me know if you've read any of these, if you're going to pick any of them up. I would love to know. I definitely want to do this again once I finish the other ones on my fall TBR, because I still have some newer releases coming out and some other books I want to get to as well. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you'd rather leave me an emoji in the comments today to let me know that you watched this video, leave me a ghost for this cute little like ghosty sweater that I'm wearing today. So leave me a ghost for the cute little ghosty cardigan. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!